Hello, my name is Frenesy Barroso. I definitely want to take the time to thank you for giving me the opportunity and giving you the opportunity to get to know me a little bit more and how my experience has been with customer service. As far as answering the questionnaire, for the first question, something I've done to obtain information to better understand a customer. So, in one of my previous companies that I've worked for, we actually studied Stephen Covey's 7 Habits to Highly Effective People. One of the objectives that we spent a lot of time on was seek first to understand, then to be understood. And that's more so to getting a better understanding of the customer and really improving our customer service itself. One of the objectives that did help me more is showing empathy to the customer and rephrasing their content. I feel like with those two tasks, you can actually get a customer to give you more information without having to ask them, reassuring that you heard them. So everything they're saying, repeating it to them so that they know that you are listening. It's actually helped me in the long run, especially with customers that have been very angry and frustrated with the company because unfortunately, the HVAC industry can be a bit hard to work with. Just in the sense of communication, technicians and sales reps actually they can be so busy that they actually have a hard time communicating with customers because they deal with so many people throughout the day. So that can be a little frustrating on the customer's end, which I can completely understand. That can be pretty frustrating. But as far as a time that I've dealt with a difficult customer, we had actually installed an HVAC system for her. So we did a heating ventilating system and an AC, and she actually also got a humidifier. With the ACs, that they actually have a water line. I'm sorry, there's a little kiddo here. They are attached to a water line. So the water line had actually burst and it actually caused a flood in her basement, which she was very frantic about, which I can only imagine how frustrating that could be. You spend so much, thousands and thousands of dollars on an HVAC system just for it to flood and cause a huge flooding in your basement. So she was very frantic, but we actually do offer some pretty great we had offered some pretty great guarantees, which included anything that happens within the 30 days of the install, we will go back and do it for free, of course, if it doesn't have to do with the warranties or anything like that. So we were actually able to get a install crew to go back out there that same day and get her all taken care of. We actually also work with a restoration company, so they were actually able to go the next day and actually get her carpets all cleaned up, get her all taken care of. Of course, it was an extra task that she didn't have to deal with if the install would have been done properly, but she was actually very pleased with the fact that we were able to get an install crew out that same day and also a restoration company that out that same week to get her taken care of. So she was actually pretty happy on her end, and I was actually pretty happy that I was able to get her to calm down a little bit from the moment she called. I can't imagine like how frustrating it could be to have a flooded home. That alone is frustrating. So we were happy to get her taken care of as quickly as possible. As far as being in a situation in which we couldn't complete everything that needed to be done on time, rebates, customers get rebates with installs as far as Lennox, Excel, Daikin, depending on the company that you decided to go with. They offer different rebates. So with rebates, sales representatives actually fail to let their customers know that they had to file the rebates on their own. So we would come into a bind quite often where customers would call that they hadn't received their rebates. And within those situations, rebates alone take 6 to 8 weeks to process and get approved. So on our end, we were very limited on how much we could actually help the customers. So the best we could really do is file the rebates for them, create the invoices for them, and offer them the claim number and letting them know that unfortunately on our end we don't have as much information, so they would actually have to call the provider themselves. We would come into some situations where customers would be a little bit frustrated, and that caused a lot of binds on our end, and sometimes we would have to pay out of pocket because customers would be very unhappy. So with those situations, unfortunately, it would be a hit or miss on if we were able to please the customer, if we were not able to please the customer. So with those situations, it was a little bit hard to tell how the outcome would be. But as far as something that I was able to identify a small problem and correct it before it became a big problem, we actually had to file for permits for installs as far as water heaters, HVAC systems, humidifiers. We did have to file for permits, and at times when we would mail them out to customers, it wouldn't get there until a couple days later. And we had came across a situation where a city inspector was actually in the area of an install that we were doing, and the permit had actually not arrived on time yet. So we actually had to go to the city of city of Littleton, get the permit again, get it printed out, and take it to the customer ourselves. So that way we can prevent a fine on our end and a fine on her end as well. So we were actually pretty lucky that time, and we actually came up with a better system on applying for permits. That way we can get those out in time before the installs actually happened. Some cities and counties do take a long time to actually deliver the permits itself. So as long as we had applied for the permit prior to us starting the install, that would be fine. So we would avoid the fines in that end as well. So we also did get that clarification, which is good to know, because at that time we did not know. So we were actually pretty rushing to get to the customer's home and really getting it taken care of. But as far as hiring me, I do feel like I would be a good fit for this position just because of the skills and qualifications that I do have from my previous history. I've actually I enjoy doing customer service on my end. I feel like it fits my personality pretty well. I'm pretty patient, bubbly. I love interacting with customers. Interacting with customers is my favorite part. Of course, you don't want to answer the phone. Even if you're having a bad day, you have to put that aside and really come with your A game and trying to help the customer as much as you can, especially with situations that are frustrating. Being able to know that I can help a customer, it actually brings joy to me and my persona all over. Like, I do like helping people out as much as I can. I really hope I can be a great fit for your company and help better myself as well. But I do look forward to hearing from you all. I do once again want to thank you for the opportunity and appreciate your time and taking the time to review my resume and also watching this video from me. But I do look forward to hearing from you later this week or sometime next week if possible, and I hope we can work together in the future. Have a great day. Thank you.